Time for the podcast!
Yay! We're back again.
Yay! Hey,
there
everybody.
is no escape.
Let's go straight to the theme music. New theme music!
I swear to God, if it's not new theme music. I don't think it is. It's not real theme music. I've been stung too many times. I'm so afraid.
Also, apparently I've forgotten how to use the theme music playing.
Yeah, we're off to a great start today.
Hold on. New theme music!
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music, so someone will probably make one up for us. I don't want to name any. Rachel. I hope it's Rachel that does that for the podcast.
That gets successively less professional every week.
I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to leave.
It's a great theme
I'm tired.
music.
I want to go home.
Look, all the tweets we've had, the theme music is the standout thing about the podcast. People love the theme
rakes
music.
of tweets that we've had from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
stacks.
endless tweets.
We nearly crashed the site once or twice, I think. So you were chatting with the CEO of Twitter there at this start.
Mark Zuckerberg.
2. Mark Zuckerberg 2.
Oh, his son.
His son.
Mark Zuckerberg Jr.
Famously part of the Zuckerberg feud, where the owners of Facebook and the owners of Twitter separated.
Is this real?
No, it's not real.
No.
No, it's not. No.
No, Ben, look, we have a podcast dynamic.
Sorry.
The podcast dynamic is I make things up and you don't know if they're real. or not.
Sorry.
Now, speaking of, we've had a tweet.
We've had
We've had a tweet. A real tweet from a real person this time.
Uh-huh.
Definitely a real person. This person goes by the name of Roisin. She's on Twitter.
She's on Twitter.
She's on Twitter at Colleen Bona, which I think is Irish.
It is Irish.
I think it means bad girl. Or milk girl.
Milk girl, I think, is probably the closer translation.
I'm not
of
entirely
the
sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, what Roisin says, I think Roisin might be Irish.
She might be.
Just from the name.
It does seem like an Irish name.
Yeah, so what Roisin says is, come here. That's how Irish people say hello.
Come here.
Come here.
Come here.
So she says, come here, will yous... And she's written yiz.
As in
Y-I-S? Y-I-Z.
Y-I-Z?
Yeah.
I went with the Z.
Exactly. So she said, Roisin at Colleen Bona, she said, come here, will yous ever talk about Irish people in space, yous feckin' pair of old gobshites?
He's feckin' pair of old gobshites. It's a long time since I heard that one. Long time since I heard that one.
So, Roisin at Colleen Bona, despite your slightly aggressive tone...
It's not slightly aggressive, that was pure aggressive.
Pure aggressive.
Pure aggressive.
Despite Roisin's slightly aggressive, pure aggressive tone, that's what we're going to do today.
Oh, we're going to talk about Irish people.
Irish people, Spás.
Spás. Is Spás.
Ben, do you remember Power Rangers?
I do.
Not 2017's Saban's Power Rangers.
Not 2007. No, I have very little recollection of pre-2017.
Why did we go see that movie?
No. I mean, I remember the core Power Rangers, but I didn't keep up with the variations that came after that.
Okay.
I wasn't like Ninja Power Rangers or Dino Power Rangers.
Well, let me tell you. Let me anecdotalize you.
Please do.
And for the non-Irish people listening, I'm going to have to do some explaining. The 6th season of the original Power Rangers was called Power Rangers in Space.
Good to know.
And
good to know.
I watched it, but not in English, in Irish.
Oh.
It was dubbed on TG Cahir.
Oh.
It was alright, it was fine. I mean, the dialogue isn't key to Power Rangers.
Well, that's true. It is all about the sparks.
But the one thing that's always stuck with me is the theme tune, which was... They took most of the lyrics away, because they obviously didn't want to waste the energy, but they did this bit, which I'll never forget. I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to do
Excellent, okay.
Ready? Getting the feeling in, the Power Rangers feeling?
Sure.
Okay, ready? Go, Power Rangers! Go, Power Rangers! Go! They didn't translate go.
No, I mean, but you really kept the energy of the original.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hold on,
well
sorry.
done.
Go, Power Rangers! Go, Power Rangers! Go, Power Rangers! Spás.
For those listening and who don't speak the very, very little spoken Irish language, so Spás means in space. I'm sure you put that together.
Spás.
Spás. Is Spás, no?
The
Spás is Spás.
It was called Power Rangers Spás.
Spás.
Who am
Okay.
I to argue?
TG Carr would know better than we would.
Yeah, so Power Rangers
Fair
Spás.
enough. Can't argue with that.
Ben,
Yes.
speaking of people Spás,
Spás.
or in space,
Mm-hmm.
what did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
I didn't see.
Sorry?
I didn't see it yet.
Say that again there?
I didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 yet. Because I'm not really worthy to podcast with people.
I've been working on an impression just for... You know I'm famous for my impressions.
You are. It's well known from Paris to Timbuktu that you're quite the impressionist.
Uncanny impressions.
Uncanny is the word that's been used.
So I've been working on an impression of you.
Oh, of me?
Yeah, for this very moment.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to lead in. Here I go.
Okay.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Ben. I want to do a pop culture podcast, but I'm too busy thinking about themes and meaning of stuff that I don't have time to watch any of the things we're supposed to talk about on the podcast. But, I mean, if you want, I'll come over to your house, talk your ear off about how pop culture is a dark mirror of real life events. But I haven't seen Guardians, though.
For any listeners who had difficulty, that wasn't actually me. That was Mick doing an impression of me. And it was it was that good.
I found that very funny. Oh, I shouldn't be that amused by myself.
That's just as well you are.
Okay.
Just as well you are.
So, if you haven't seen not Power Rangers, Space Guard.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes, Spás.
Spás.
What have you seen? What have you seen?
Well, this week, Mick,
Mm-hmm.
there have been several little releases and teasers given out to the public, mostly from the Marvel end of things. I suppose the most significant one to come out was the Defenders trailer for Netflix. Ooh. The Defenders trailer, which doesn't look too bad.
It looks pretty good.
It doesn't look too bad.
I like the look of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fairly solid. For anyone that doesn't know, the Defenders are made up of... That was like a drum roll. Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist,
The Immortal Iron
Fist, and Daredevil.
Yeah.
Luke Cage and Jessica Jones don't get superhero names because they're gritty and
real,
and they don't need superhero names.
You know, though, one thing that I liked about the trailer was that the other characters, upon meeting the Immortal Iron Fist, find that as ridiculous as they should.
Oh, absolutely. They completely question it. I really like that interaction between him and Luke Cage. You know, there's just Luke Cage just as that incredulous kind of like, what?
Yeah, you what?
Yeah, which is exactly what most people did when they turned on Iron Fist.
Oh!
What? I think that's a fair response. Everyone for the first couple of episodes was like, what?
That's our Marvel sponsorship gone.
Well, look, Marvel have been done with us for a while. So it's grand. Give them a fond farewell.
Bye, Marvel. You know, there are a couple of other things about it. A couple of interesting things. Corridor fight.
Another corridor fight because they just can't let it go.
Corridor fights are the Marvel TV universe's equivalent of people getting their hands chopped off in Star Wars.
Yes, it's the exact same thing. It's a recurring motif thing that you just have to have. But it works. Every time it works. They give it a little bit of variation each time. Daredevil Season 2 had the Punisher do the corridor scene that particular time.
Oh, yeah.
Remember he goes through the prison?
That's true.
Luke
Luke Cage wasn't great.
Luke Cage just holds up a corridor.
He has a corridor.
It is a corridor fight, but
Ben, I don't understand. He's more bulletproof than a corridor.
I think it's to stop him being overpowered by bullets.
It doesn't make sense.
I think he's bulletproof, but I don't think he's resistance proof. I think he can be pushed back with the right amount of force.
Unlike a corridor. What are corridors where you come from?
They're special gravity things
Magic.
are rooted in their own
magic physics
gravity
proof.
field. Yeah, they're amazing.
That's ridiculous.
Corridors are magic. Everybody knows this.
You know, here's the thing. Did you go through it? Did you go through it inch by inch?
I didn't go through it inch by inch. I'm always kind of a
A big picture sort of guy.
Big picture kind
Themes.
of guy. Themes.
Motifs.
I'm big at themes and motifs. They're my favourite thing. They're my favourite thing.
I'm Ben. I'm thinking about themes, so I don't have time to go to the cinema. That was me again. Being Ben.
You're going to have to start preferencing it because they're going to get confused and think that I keep referring to myself in the third person.
Uncanny.
Did
you see when Elektra gives Matt Murdock, I suppose, because he's in the suit, I think.
Yeah.
She gives him the stun palm. And he goes
gets
flying
knocked
through
back.
the window.
Yeah.
Well, what's up with that? Does she have super strength now?
Well, she's resurrected by, as far as I can tell, she gets resurrected by the hand.
The interesting hand or the boring hand?
Help me on that one.
Well, there was the cool Deadly Ninja hand from Daredevil who had heartbeats so
I think
controlled.
Yeah, you can't hear them.
You can't hear them.
They can outwit Daredevil.
And then there was the confused teenager hand from Iron Fist.
It's not teenager hand from Iron Fist.
The good
it's awesome heartbeat muffling
yes
ninja thing. But that happens in the comics as well. Frank Miller did a whole run.
Oh, Frank Miller.
No, this was Frank Miller pre Cuckoo. It was Frank Miller pre Cuckoo, and it's actually a pretty decent run. It kind of redefined the character and gave him a shot. Yeah,
I'm so disappointed.
I know. I wanted to bash him so badly. I wanted to have a go at Frank Miller again.
I wanted Frank Miller to be kind of our first official podcast enemy.
He is. He will be. I have plenty to say about him, and we will say plenty about him over the many podcasts that are to come. Unless Frank Miller wants to sponsor the podcast.
Yay.
Please don't, Frank. I would not be able to work with you. But yeah, no, she gets resurrected by the hand, and she becomes. I think usually when you're resurrected by the hand, you get a little bit of a
boost,
a pick me up.
Not
majorly.
What happened? Spoilers for Iron Fist, if anyone cares anymore. What happened to Meacham? Harold Meacham. He came back all Frankenstein.
He did. He came back extremely Frankenstein, didn't he?
Is she going to climb out of a swamp and eat a shoe?
I don't see why not.
Maybe because she's in that coffin thing in the trailer.
It seems like it was handled with a lot more, like there was a lot more protocol or a lot more,
They did it right.
Human resources was very on board on this one. They were like making sure that all the proper boxes were ticked,
Ben!
Yes.
Inhumans.
I have only seen the picture for the Inhumans.
It's bad.
Does it look grim? Does it? Because the picture looks kind of grim.
It looks bad.
It looks very... I remember I read one thing and they said that the costumes were trying to be more realistic.
Oh no.
But their costumes just look very... like they're made out of PVC at a kind of fetish night.
You think?
You're
going to the wrong fetish nights.
Medusa's... it's true. I've been turned away for the last two.
Because you showed up dressed like Medusa. Snake
like
hair.
Medusa.
Oh, I've got the wrong fetish.
I thought it was Greek con. It wasn't. It wasn't Greek con.
I don't know. The hair looks bad.
I know.
Maybe when they CG it, it's going to be good, and maybe when there's some motion in it, it's going to be good. But it looks like a woman in a cheap costume with a bad wig.
ABC's adaptations do not fill me with joy when it comes to the Marvel Universe.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is very good. I won't have a bad thing said about it.
I don't agree with you.
You haven't seen it.
I've seen parts. I've seen enough.
You haven't seen enough.
I've seen enough.
Get on the case of Season 4, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4.
Is this the Ghost Rider season?
It is the Ghost Rider.
Are you in love with Ghost Rider?
No. Ghost Rider is the weakest of the three. Here, this is a theme word, so this is your department.
Yay!
What's a mini arc called? A sequence?
Subplot.
No, but I mean, what would you call 6 episodes? Let's call it a sequence.
Let's call it a sequence.
And there are 3 sequences
that make up the 18 episodes.
22, I think.
Okay, well then there's a 18 with a couple of fillers.
Yeah. And of the 3 sequences, Ghost Rider was the weakest.
Okay.
And it was still pretty decent.
Okay, so I'm going to have to check out season 4 now.
And there's an Irishman in it.
An Irishman?
Yeah, he doesn't play an Irishman.
We're Irishmen.
We're Irishmen.
For anyone who hasn't figured that out yet.
Yeah. Did you see the image for Runaways?
I did. Looks very MTV does superheroes.
Yeah.
To me. They're very comic accurate. Like...
Stunningly.
Exceptionally comic accurate. I was quite impressed.
Except a bit older and a little bit sexy.
They're a little bit CW'd.
Like Mark Spector.
Rami Malek looking all swish. But they're a little bit CW'd. I think it's going to be Disney Channel and MTV come together, do a project, happens to have superheroes.
On Hulu?
Hulu. Yeah,
What even is Hulu?
What even? It's a subscription. It was one of the original subscription services for television.
Does it predate Netflix?
I'm not sure it predates Netflix, but it was one of their initial, like, they were competitors in the early days, and then Netflix just vastly pulled ahead. But
cool.
Yeah,
So,
I think they.
I don't think Runaways. I don't think Runaways is hard to say. Runaways.
Runaways.
Is it my Irishness?
It could be your Irishness.
I keep rolling into runways.
This is an interesting thing.
Runaways.
Nick, you seem to be very preoccupied on.
Well, it's the theme.
Irishness today.
It's the theme for today.
It is the topic of the day.
The topic for today is Irishness and forgetting to see movies that are important for podcasts.
And just doing everything in your power to make your co-host feel uncomfortable.
Yay! Ben, let's move on because we've got for people who can't see us. Everyone.
We don't.
Ben's looking a bit tired today. He's looking a bit vulnerable.
I'm a bit ragged.
I've taken this moment to strike.
I'm a bit ragged. I can't even. I'm on the ground. Like Batman in Batman vs Superman. I've got a knife to the shoulder, taking a couple of licks.
Stop talking about Batman. Warner Brothers are going to copyright claim us again.
There is a bit of a saga going on at the time of this podcast. Sure, we'll fill you in next week.
Yeah, we'll fill you in.
Everything
will be fine.
It'll be grand.
Everything is fine.
So, Mick,
Ben,
today's wonderful, wonderful topic is
Power Rangers in space.
Mm-hmm.
No. do you want to do that?
It is Power Rangers in space. No, it's not. It's Irish people in comic books and the kind of stuff that we like.
Yay.
Nerdy, superhero-y based stuff.
Okay, look, Ben, I bloody hate when there's an Irish person on a television program.
I can't stand it. It's the worst thing in the world.
Is that our fault, or is there a reason?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for this, Mick, and one of the most interesting ones.
That's your opinion.
It's always my opinion, Mick, because it comes out of my mouth. But yeah, you're right. One of the most interesting things, in my opinion, is.
I'm so sorry. We've moved into a new studio. It's very small, and we've had Mexican food, and I'm a little gassy, and I don't know if that's getting caught on the mic. If it is, Ben will hopefully edit it out.
Oh, this room! I'm not editing it.
This room is far too small.
It's so small.
It's such a tiny room,
and it's warm. But there's less echo today, so it's
a little bit farty.
It's just.
Back on topic.
Glamorous. I'm ragged. It's just a mess. Anyway, Irish people in all forms of media kind of get a rough old go of it, or a representation of Irish people is not always the most accurate thing.
Okay.
In comic books or in movies, and this is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years.
Hold
on a second. Sorry, let me Irish that up for you a little bit. Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years, Michael. Hundreds of years now.
Oh, begod.
Begorra.
Special guest of the podcast is Tom Cruise from the film Far and Away. Put on the hat, Ben.
Just
put on the hat.
Just tell me you like my suit.
Put on the hat.
Just tell me you like my suit.
Oh, that's what he says. He doesn't say put on the hat.
He doesn't say put on the hat.
Tell me you like me hat.
Tell me you like me hat. Tom Cruise actually says that in real life. He goes around telling people to tell them that they like the hat. So if Tom Cruiser's haberdashery wants to sponsor the podcast, feel free. But this phenomenon is actually called the Stage Irish phenomenon. Stage Irish. Now, cast your mind back.
Oh, begod.
Cast your mind back now.
How far will I cast my mind back?
You can go all the way back to the 18th century, Michael.
The
18th century.
Get out of it.
Absolutely. So, in the 18th century...
Why can't I do an impression of an Irish person?
I don't know.
I am Irish.
You're very Irish.
Oh.
Like, Mick is the Irish guy on this podcast.
I look like a potato.
He looks like a potato with sunburn. It's a whole thing. Anyway, the Stage Irish phenomenon happened when plays were being written with Irish characters featuring in them. This took particular precedence in the 17th century when Jacobites and Whigs were at war with one another.
Wait a second.
It's a lot of information to get through.
Hold on. Whigs can't fight wars. They're just fake hair.
They're just fake hair. WHIGS was a political group that was very active during this time, and the Jacobites and the Whigs were against each other. Some of them supported William of Orange to take the throne from King James the Second.
They're King
Jimmy was going to lose the throne anyway. And what happened was a lot of Irish people supported King James.
King Jimmy
and King
Willie.
If they were supporting King Jimmy, they were usually cast in plays in quite an offensive stereotype.
Really?
Yeah.
Ben, I hate when I learn things.
Oh, sorry. I'll tone it back.
Don't teach me things.
I'll tone it back.
No.
I've screwed the pooch.
What have I had to forget?
Learn that information. Something out.
What? Can I name all those Transformers anymore?
By the way, for those of you that can't see, I'm just looking at a giant wall of plastic figurines.
They're not figurines. They're action figures.
They're action figures, but
figurines are collected by old ladies with cats.
Which Mick will be one day. He has a cat. Ed's awesome. Shout out to Ed.
Yeah, official cat podcast cat.
Official podcast cat. We should really put that up on Twitter.
Yeah, just put pictures.
Just get the cat up.
Anyway,
sorry.
Go back to teaching me things.
Yeah. So what actually happened was this character was extremely aggressive and idiotic.
Right.
And it really played on the stereotypes.
Why are you looking at me? What are you looking at me like that for?
I've been found out. So it really played on the stereotypes that English people held about Irish people, that we were savages and that we were just kind of like cavemen,
right?
Who drank. Like that's kind of the way it worked. And this character became more used in plays, and it became a figure of comedy.
The stage play.
The stage play, because we didn't have screens and Netflix in those days.
No Netflix.
Ye old Netflix was not a thing.
Very little Twitter.
So little Twitter. People used to just write stuff on pieces of paper and throw them in the air, and hope that someone would read them. It was very strange. That's not factual. Don't check that. It's a lie. But yeah, moving on from there, this obviously kind of evolved as time went by, and the character would be played with different kind of things, but it became known as the stage Irishman. It would basically take all the stereotypes.
Oh, I love a drink.
Blend them into one. Asher Jez, I'm only an old rogue. I'm only an old rogue.
Look at me, bro.
Just wandering around causing havoc.
I'm wearing me shoes and eating potatoes.
Tatties. I can't. I just want to eat potatoes and drink.
I'm so ashamed of this voice I'm doing.
But my favorite quote about this phenomenon was given by. Sorry,
say that again.
My favourite quote about this phenomenon. Phenomena. I'm not going to keep it going. But it comes from Robert Welch, and he said that the character is often recognised as garrulous, boastful, unreliable, hard drinking, belligerent, though cowardly, and chronically impetuous. And impetuous means broke.
Does it?
Yeah, so chronically broke.
That's kind of racist.
And that is the way that we were perceived on the stage for hundreds of years. George Bernard Shaw was probably the most significant man to touch on it. He wrote a play called The Playboy of the Western World.
Very famous.
A very, extremely famous play.
Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner, a fan of... Sorry, it's just still all over the bit.
Ben's very tired.
I'm so tired today. I'm trying so hard. I really am. I'm just knackered. Knackered is tired for anyone that doesn't speak.
That's in Age of Ultron.
Hiberno English. Oh, we're not talking about her until the end. Okay. I can't. I'll just get angry.
We'll get to her later.
But anyway, George Bernard Shaw famously created a character that epitomised this stage Irishman. And he does it...
Famous Irishman, George Bernard Shaw.
Famous Irishman, George Bernard Shaw. And it's a very critical look at... very, very critical look at how the Irish people portray themselves. The stage Irishman has actually taken on a life of its own. It's said of Irish people that when they go abroad, they adopt their own form of the stage Irishman and become very over the top and aggressive. I don't know if that's true, but it's said about us. abroad. That very charming Irish guy that you met in your hostel is probably an accountant.
Australia.
And not at all the crack he seems to be. So yeah, that's the stage Irishman phenomenon, but it really kind of bled into comic books big time.
Go on.
And it's just everywhere in all the superhero stuff. There's
but even when it's not necessarily bad, though.
Yeah, but it never comes off very well.
Give us an example. Throw an example at me, Ben.
So to give
me
like,
the old Collopy 1-2. Oh no, sorry, I didn't want to say your last name. We'll edit that.
It's alright. It's fine. I'll survive somehow.
Give me an example, Ben.
I guess the two most annoying ones that I can think of off the top of my head are Sean Cassidy and Tom Cassidy from Marvel Comic Books, who are better known as Banshee and Black Tom Cassidy.
Hold on a second. Irish language information. A banshee is a lady.
A banshee is a lady. Banshee is Sidhe, and it's literally a female fairy. But
that's what it means.
Yeah.
Ban means woman.
Ban means woman.
Why is he a man?
Wait, see, they spell it differently because it got anglicised.
Okay.
So now it's instead of Bansidhe, it's Banshee.
Right.
Because people don't anglicise correctly.
But it's still a female thing.
It's still a female thing, but good old Marvel in the 60s. Not that much research done. Doesn't really have to be accurate in terms of, national portrayal.
Who created Banshee?
It's Stan Lee.
Was it Stan Lee?
Stan Lee.
Do a Stan Lee voice, Ben, on the spot.
Okay. Face front, true believers. And behold, the Irishman, Banshee, and his crazy scream. Ooh.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Excelsior! And so on and so forth. That was very on the spot. I'll work on it for next week. Anyway.
That was pretty good. I was really hoping to catch you off guard.
Sorry. Anyway, he is Sean Cassidy, which is one of the most Irish names in the world.
But that's alright, I know.
No, it's fine. There are
Cassidys.
stacks of Sean Cassidys. That's not my issue with Banshee as a portrayal.
Okay.
One of the first things that Sean Cassidy is ever shown to say in the comics is, "Begorra, lad, I'm a mutant."
Oh, to be sure.
To be ta.
I am an old mutant.
I'm Tom A. Mutant.
Tom A. Mutant the one. This Jock's a comic shop. Only Irish people are going to find that remotely
If
funny.
you've ever watched T.G. Carr, Mick just did the most stellar impression of all their promo ads.
That was pretty good.
It was almost as on point as my Stan Lee impression.
If T.G. Carr want to sponsor us,
I actually 100% T.G. Carr, give us an outlash. We'll do a little segment in Irish.
we'll do the whole thing in Irish.
We'll do the whole thing in Irish.
If you want.
Give us the money.
We'll do the whole thing in any language if anyone wants to sponsor us.
I don't speak Mandarin, but hey, I'll learn.
Yeah.
I'll use that I'll put that podcast money to good use.
Go on, tell us why Sean Cassidy's racist.
So anyway, he's not. Well, he is racist. So anyway, he is Sean Cassidy. He is heir to the Cassidy Castle estate in Ireland, fictional Ireland.
I have a castle estate, don't you?
I have several.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I have several. I have a province.
Like every Irishman.
Yeah, we all have castles at the back garden. You know yourself. You have to have an old back garden castle.
An old castle.
Somewhere to go. But yeah, so he was educated at Trinity. Bet you didn't know this.
I didn't know that.
His fictional history is he's educated at Trinity. And then he went on to work for Interpol. And after he worked for Interpol...
How would he pronounce Interpol?
Interpol. Sure, I work for Interpol.
Begosh.
Do you know yourself? I work for Interpol. Big
Top of the morning.
Begorra. So anyway, that's him. He then later joined the X-Men in the original kind of new team where Storm, Colossus, Wolverine were all introduced. And
what was his first debut issue?
Is it the 100th Spectacular?
I don't know. You didn't even notice I was making fun of first debut.
Oh, I did. Damn it! I'm so tired today. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just letting your boots fall flat.
If there are any female listeners, I do not have flat bits.
I'm not checking. So yeah, basically he went on to join that, and he spends most of that issue drinking whiskey and playing the piano, playing ditties on the piano.
Classic Irishman.
He later had a daughter, Siren. And
Now, hold on a second. She should have been called Banshee.
she should have been called Banshee. That would have been perfect. She got called Siren, which is actually a Greek.
That doesn't make any
myth.
sense.
No, there's no sense to be had here. They both have voice powers, so it's just like, she's Irish, but sure, the Sirens did things with their voices. Just give it to her.
Do you think they realised it? You've gone a bit Irish.
I've
there
gone a
yourself.
bit Irish myself. I have.
Do you think they realised that Banshee would have been a better name for a female character and then went, bollocks.
Balls. They definitely did, and at that point he was well established.
Okay.
Now, he's fairly poor representation of us as a nation, but nothing beats his cousin. Tom Cassidy is his cousin, and they're old rivals from back in the day because they both fought over the same Bure. A Bure, by the way, is an attractive woman in Irish parlance, and they both fought over the same Bure. Bitter rivals, even though they're cousins. And so they did this whole thing, and he has the most racist mutant power in Marvel Comics.
Oh?
He can project energy blasts,
That doesn't seem racist.
but only through wood.
How's that racist?
So he has to... Well, you wonder how that's racist, Mick. How do you think an Irishman who can only project energy blasts through wood would do that? What would he carry around with him?
Oh, no.
It's exactly what you think.
It's one of those stick things,
Yeah,
isn't
it is. It's a shillelagh.
Oh.
He carries a shillelagh around.
Oh.
And he uses that to
God.
send his... to send his energy blasts at people. Because, of course, it's a shillelagh. He's Irish. It's perfect. It matches.
But I mean, in one sense, it's very accurate because I have nothing but shifty cousins.
I have stacks of shifty cousins. And a very nice collection of polished shillelaghs.
Yeah, and I've some nice cousins too, if they're listening. If you're listening, you're one of the nice ones. You're not one of the shifty ones.
Because you support your cousin's dreams.
Yeah, except you, Darren.
God damn it, Darren. Sorry, Darren, I don't know you. If I meet you, I'm sure you're lovely.
He's not.
He's not? Okay,
No,
great.
he always has his shillelagh. He's always shooting energy
He's always
blasts.
shooting energy blasts. Jesus, all those shifty cousins. All over a Bure. All over a Bure. It's terrible. Anyway, again, terrible representation. His catchphrase is boyo.
That's alright.
They all talk to each other in boyos. I'll teach you boyo.
And is he
Stuff like that.
also heir to an estate?
I think he contests the Cassidy
Obviously.
castlehood.
Mm-hmm.
Again, every family has their own castlehood. Castlehood contests are quite common.
But I mean, okay, look, I agree that comics don't do Irish people well.
They don't.
They don't. It's just a fact. Unless they're written by an Irishman, unless it's a particular Irishman who we might talk about later.
Maybe.
But look, every ethnic grouping was misrepresented in 70s comics.
Oh, absolutely.
They had Thunderbird.
Bird. Yeah, no, he was Thunderbird.
He had a bloody feather in his hair.
He did, just a big red feather sticking on the back.
Yeah.
Thunderbird is a really generic, kind of super strong, super durable, Native American based superhero that joined the team at the same time as Banshee, actually.
Yes,
I think that's what that issue was. It was just like, we need to start diversifying. So they got the Russian guy in,
Yeah.
Colossus. They got a Canadian in,
Yeah.
Wolverine. They got the Irishman in. They got an Egyptian African in,
Yeah.
Aurora Monroe,
Yeah.
Storm. And they just kept doing... German.
German.
Got a German. Nightcrawler
A
joined
shifty
in that
German.
issue. A shifty German. Sneaky German.
See?
Yeah.
They're all racist.
So each one was misrepresented, but because we're Irish, we're going to take umbrance to this one.
At least Nightcrawler didn't wear lederhosen.
He didn't wear a lederhosen, but he probably would have given the option. He probably would have.
Nightcrawler might be a deviant. Not a deviant like the opposite of the Eternals.
No.
That's a deep cut.
That's a deep. That's some obscure.
That's a deep comic book cut.
Yeah,
accidentally made there.
Yeah.
I mean a sexual deviant.
A sexual deviant,
No.
not one of those proper deviants.
Not one of the ones created by the Celestials in the first.
What is it? Celestials, deviants, Eternals.
Celestials
are
made,
the boss, aren't they?
Celestials made Eternals, and deviants are essentially the mutants of Eternals, I think.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Men Misremembering Things, the podcast.
That could be the name this week. There's no reason it wouldn't be.
Do you have any more to say about Banshee?
Just that he's awful silly. They never bothered to... the last thing I want to say about him, he, spoilers, actually dies in the comics and is resurrected a little bit later. But he's when he dies, his last words are, "I just hope that St. Peter takes me up to the pearly gates." I kid you not. So not only do we drink and play the piano all the time, but we spend most of our time praying as well. So, you know, as representations go.
What about how he got un-Irished?
For some reason they didn't choose the slightly offensive portrayal for the X-Men First Class movie, and he's super duper American.
Yeah, and super duper dies off screen.
He does die off screen.
Yeah,
I completely forgot that.
Yeah, super duper dies off screen, and presumably says, "Oh gosh, I sure hope..." That's my American accent.
St. Peter's there to take me up to those pearly gates. Wrong voice. Morty.
No, we're not doing it.
No, we're not going there. Anyway, that's one of my gripes in the comic book form. How about yourself?
Look, I'm going to counter your gripe.
Anything?
I'm countering your gripe. I'm going to go positive.
Oh.
And it's not really comic book, to be honest. It's science fiction. It's Star Trek, Ben. It's classic Star Trek.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Leave it out. Star Trek's great. People who don't like Star Trek are deviants.
Celestial deviants?
Yes, those ones. Ancient mutants. I'm really trying not to do the voice now.
they're ancient mutants.
Stop it. No, look, we're going to talk about Star Trek, and we're going to talk about the world's greatest living Irishman, possessor of a massive head and the finest curly hair you've ever seen.
It is a spud head.
He does have a massive head, like all of the best stars of TV and film. I am talking about Colm Meaney as the absolutely legendary character Chief Miles O'Brien. Miles O'Brien is possibly the best representation of an Irish person in a non-Irish series that I've ever seen.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain.
Convince me.
I'm not going to explain Star Trek. Everyone knows what Star Trek is.
No, that wasn't Star Trek.
That wasn't Star Trek. What was that?
I had the tune in my head, and then it vanished, and then it turned into Star Wars, and I knew that it just rile you up. So
it sounded like a diabetic's blood sugar warning alarm.
You're not diabetic, are you?
No, well, I sometimes say I am, so I can get away with eating jellies.
I do that too.
Anyway, look. What's his name again? Colm Meaney.
Who plays Miles O'Brien.
He's a real Irish person. He, for the most part, uses his real Irish accent. For the most part, he veers into American a little bit sometimes. But look, for example,
you have to give him. You know,
he says pants instead of trousers. That's the script writers. And also, look, it's the future.
They might have done away with trousers.
He's from Future Space Ireland.
Yeah.
But maybe everyone says pants in Future Space
Ireland.
Anyway, right, so
that's the name of the podcast, by the way.
Future Space Ireland. I was thinking Irishmen to Spás.
Yeah, that could work too.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
It's a Tauki. I'm going to go full hog. But yeah, fair enough. Sorry, back to Miles O'Brien. Sorry.
So he's a real Irish person.
Yeah.
And he... Here's a little fact for you. Do you want a little fact?
Go on.
Here's a little Star Trek fact.
Little tidbit.
In all of Star Trek, Colm Meaney has the second most appearances.
Who's first, David?
Michael Dorn, Worf. Because he was a regular on Next Generation and Deep Space Nine.
He popped up in a couple.
Yeah, so did Miles O'Brien. Miles O'Brien started in the Next Generation as an unnamed transporter chief. And eventually, he was just in the background, bloody tapping on the plastic panel, beaming people hither and fro, and doing things like a big space Irishman with a big space Irish fat
pure
head.
natural.
And obviously, look, it's Colm Meaney. You can't just have Colm Meaney stand in the background. He'll probably beat you up.
It's not possible.
So they gave him more and more to do, and they gave him a backstory. They called him Miles O'Brien. Okay. Probably his best episode. Not his best episode. His coming out episode. It's not the first episode he appeared. No, he's not gay. He's not space gay. He's married to a...
What would be wrong with space gay, Michael?
Nothing. Space gay is fine. He's married to a space American Japanese woman.
There was a flash of fear in Mick's eye when I called him on space gay. There was like, oh no!
So yeah, look, it was a great episode. It's called The Wounded.
Okay.
And in The Wounded, Miles O'Brien's former commander, who's American Space Irish.
Okay.
So he's American Irish, but from space.
But from space. That's an interesting mix.
He comes back and he's determined to blow up some Cardassians. Which one is it? The aliens with the face, not the Instagram.
Not
women.
the aliens who run a successful media business on Earth.
No, Cardassians. So his former commander is determined to blow up some Cardassians.
As former commanders often are.
Right, and Picard and the Enterprise have to stop him. And Picard decides he's going to stop him using force. And Miles O'Brien's like, no, listen, let me talk to him. We know each other. And Miles O'Brien beams over. He uses technology trickery, so he's not like this luggish Irishman that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He comes up with the idea and goes and beams over, and they're in a room and it's dark and it's quiet and they're talking about their old comrades and one of them died, and the captain of the other ship says, talking about a comrade they had who was also Space Irish, and he says,
because we're everywhere.
Everywhere it's a Spás.
And
he says to him, Miles, what was that song he always used to sing? And Miles, he doesn't break a beat. He just looks dead ahead, straight into space. And he goes, the minstrel boy to the war hath gone. In the ranks of death you'll find him. His father's sword he hath girded on. His wild harp slung behind him. Jesus. And they go through the whole song, yeah.
Misty-eyed over here. It's nice to know that even in this Spás, we carry a tune in our hearts and a hip flask in our pockets.
And he's singing the song, the old ballad. And
yeah.
That's a real song, by the way.
Oh no, I know the minstrel boy.
Thomas Moore? I think Thomas Moore wrote it. In Trinity with Banshee.
Yeah, they were old buddies. They used to spend time in the Castlehood.
Thomas Moore is real.
Thomas Moore is real.
Anyway, so at the end they're both sitting there and it's all silent, and his old captain turns to him and in American Irish says, I'm not gonna win this one, am I, Chief? And Chief O'Brien says, no, sir. And then he gives up his quest for vengeance.
No.
Avoids the war. He avoids the war with an old sing-song.
He talked him down.
Look, when I pub. Kind of. Yeah. When I was a teenager and I saw that, I hated it. Because I was thinking, stereotype, Irishman goes and bloody sings a song and everything's grand. And
everything's fine.
But, that song has... I did some research. Uh-huh. It has a lot of meaning to people, that song.
Does it?
Yeah, the Irish Defence Forces play it.
Really?
Funerals.
Okay.
Boston Police.
That's not a joke then.
No, it's dead serious.
Yeah, it's a dead serious song.
It means things to people. And Colm Meaney, like me, isn't an amazing singer. It's just two lads singing this song.
Just imbue it with a bit of...
Yeah, it's one of the best Star Trek scenes you'll ever see.
I'm going to have to go look at this. You're going to make me watch Star Trek.
Yes! Oh. Victory in podcasting! Then, okay, the other great thing about Miles O'Brien, right?
Yeah, sure.
So he goes on to Deep Space Nine. He represents us well, Ben.
I'm sure he does.
He has the occasional drink.
Sure.
Everything's fine.
Who doesn't?
He gets space drunk once or twice. One of his best friends is a space Englishman, Dr. Julian Bashir. Yeah.
Space Englishman.
Everything's fine. Everything's very space. And then...
everything's very space.
In one episode, look, I'm not going to go into it too much. His daughter goes missing.
No.
She falls in a time portal.
Sure, we've all fell into a time portal on the way home. A few drinks. Time portal.
Is that why you're so tired?
That's why you're so tired today. I spent most of last night in the Renaissance.
His daughter Molly O'Brien.
Molly O'Brien. Jesus.
Fierce strong name.
I
know a few Molly O'Briens myself.
I know a few Miles O'Briens.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'd like to meet them. Is one of them Colm Meaney?
No.
I actually saw Colm Meaney once, but that's totally off topic.
I
got real excited.
Did you?
Yeah. I
saw a fanboy on him?
No, I don't fanboy. I'm not a fanboy. In fact, I kind of have a thing about not liking people who get excited about meeting celebrities, but I nearly got excited when I met Colm Meaney.
It's kind of fair.
Anyway, so Colm Meaney, not Colm Meaney, that's an actor. The character that Colm Meaney plays, Chief Miles O'Brien, he loses his daughter through a time portal, and he has to try and get her back.
Okay.
And one of the ways he tries to get her back is by building this machine. And we spend a few minutes with him building the machine.
Sure.
He's building it on the planet where he's trying to get her back, and it doesn't work.
Awkward.
Right? So his daughter is gone, Ben.
She's just pure gone now.
She's gone. Like, the man's in emotional turmoil.
Not great.
And then he starts working this machine. You can see the excitement in his face because it's Colin Meaney. He's acting the hell out of it. And
he does enjoy a bit of acting.
he presses the buttons, boop, 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 and the thing blows up.
Oh, Jesus.
And he picks up a spanner, he throws the spanner at it, and he utters the single best line in Star Trek history. Hold on a second, I've set up a clip. Here we go. Let's play that again.
Without the windows. Bollocks. Look, it is the greatest Irish phrase.
It's just so Irish. It's just great that it had to have been Colin Meaney.
The frustration of it all.
He has to have said to the director, just let me
do this one.
It's brilliant.
There's no pants or trousers debates here.
No.
This is Colin Meaney being Colin Meaney.
And saying bollocks. Squeezing it past the censors because
they haven't got a clue what a bollocks is.
They don't know what a bollocks is. A bollock is a testicle.
It is.
And bollocks.
When you have more than one, not flat like Mick's, they're called bollocks.
Yeah, that's true. That in fact, like he got away with saying bollocks in Star Trek.
Yes, win.
And he squeezed it past the censors.
Yeah.
When they showed it on the BBC, they censored it.
No.
Yeah. When they showed it on RTE, the Radio Television,
National Broadcaster.
Yeah, National Broadcaster, 6 o'clock in the evening, uncensored. It was great. Look, Miles O'Brien, best Irishman in pop culture, by far.
That's kind of interesting, though.
He's great. He's great. He's
okay,
a great space Irishman.
No, I think... Okay, that's a fairly... Alright, fine. I will concede that's a fair representation of Irish people. But it does kind of embody that weird dilemma that we seem to have as a nation when it comes to representation in all kinds of... It's just... Sometimes it's good. Like, some people love the over-the-top Irish, come on, we have a drink, sing some songs, like...
Punch each other.
Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And then I think most Irish people just sit there and go, oh, God, will you just... go away.
Get out of it.
Go away. Get over it.
Get up the yard.
Get over the yard.
Look.
See that window.
The other thing we have to look at is, for us, there's a big difference between Space Irish and Space Irish American.
Yeah, Space Irish American is a huge issue.
But look, that's why we're not touching Irish American in this episode. Yeah. Because, who are we to say if someone is doing a good Boston Irish or not?
Boston Irish is not. Yeah, no. This is purely focused on the Irish. The people from
Irish. The island of Ireland.
The island of Ireland. A beautiful place it is too.
Yeah, and look, one of the hardest things to say in an Irish accent is the word Ireland.
Ireland. Yeah, it is. It's not. Doesn't roll.
Look, if you go to pop culture, this is the thing. Look, we are very aware here at this podcast that everybody, upon hearing someone who's not from their country doing their country, is probably, they can pick things out much better.
Yeah, they just feel it. Yeah, it's just like no.
Like, I don't know how good Michael Fassbender's American accent is.
It's not very good.
I don't know how good Colin Farrell's American accent is. They sound kind of fine to me, but I'm not American.
Except when Michael Fassbender keeps slipping back into...
Yeah. Mutants!
My fellow mutants!
We're here on this beach, and I'm a Jewish German, and I'm talking like this. For some reason. I'm going to stop these bleeding missiles.
With me powers.
Not
the whiskey.
If Michael Fassbender wants to sponsor the podcast, that would be fine. He seems like a solid bloke.
If Michael Fassbender wants to be on the podcast...
Yes! Someone tweet Fassbender. Get him here.
We promise not to fanboy.
No, we don't.
We're firmly against it here at the Michael and Benjamin's podcast.
Or Colin Meaney. Is Colin Meaney on Twitter?
If Colin Meaney wants to... Yeah, Grant, we can do it in the pub.
You've just undone years of progress.
I knew exactly what I was doing. I am not ashamed of that particular choice.
Ben, we've barely we've barely
Scratched
looked
the surface,
scratched
yeah.
the surface of Irish people in popular culture. We've got a lot more to look at. What do you say we save them for another day?
I think we'll have to do a part 2. I think we'll have to do a part 2. Because we've quite a bit to say. I can see you have some notes. I have some notes.
I don't make notes. This is all off the cuff. It's all fresh off the top of my head.
We'll edit that out. Grand.
No, it's fine.
We'll preserve the magic. Preserve the magic.
Leave it
It'll
in.
be grand.
If we're going to edit out when I farted.
I'm not doing that. That stays. You made the Mexican food. You died by the Mexican food. I had to suffer through it. The room is very small.
It's very small.
It's a very small room.
Very warm.
Toasty.
Yeah.
Toasty.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Alright, we'll
what do
call
we
it
need?
quits.
Hold on, wait. What do we need to say at the end?
We will include some links
Yeah.
to some of the stuff we talked about. I will give a reference for the Stage Irishman thing for anyone who's interested in continuing that. Mick, any suggestions?
Tweet us about your favourite Irish people or your
Yeah,
least favourite.
I mean,
your favourite screen. Don't tweet us about us being your least favourite Irish people.
That would hurt. I'm very sensitive. Don't criticise me in any way.
Yeah, do criticise Ben.
No. Contact Mick directly. Criticise me through Mick. And he will turn it into a bit for next week's podcast.
Also worth mentioning is if Marvel Ireland are listening and they want to send Ben some tickets to Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know.
Because I haven't seen it yet.
He hasn't seen it. Maybe he's having financial problems. I don't know. I'm not privy to his private dealings.
Thank
God. That might help him. Any of those things, tweet us at Mick and Ben, or leave us a message on the YouTube video, or leave us a comment on SoundCloud or iTunes or any of those things.
Very pluggy.
It's not a plug.
Very shilly.
It's not a plug. Look, I'm not plugging. I'm not saying that people should like, share and subscribe.
Tis far from plugs you were raised now.
Oh, to be sure. Look, aren't we only Irish, and aren't we only too ashamed for any of that self-promotion?
Right, so anyway.
Bye.
Pub.